What's going on, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys day number 12 in my 11th annual 31 Days of Horror, a series in which we watch and review 31 horror films in 31 days, all during the month of October. And today we're doing another 2022 film. It is the Netflix exclusive, or Netflix original, I'm not sure, Mr. Harrigan's Phone, which is based on a Stephen King short story. I believe from the compilation If It Bleeds, I want to say. I do have that book, and I have read this story. I think it's the first story. But yeah, so when this was first announced, I was like, "What? They're making this?" I mean, there's so many stories that haven't been adapted yet, and this is one where I'm kind of like, man, I mean, this is like not a fantastic story or anything. Like, it's decent, but I'm like, how are they going to make this into a movie? Because it's kind of a simple story. And I was very surprised when I saw that this was like it was like announced and in production and then released like boom, 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 like really fast. So I was kind of surprised about that. The film is sort of more of like a thriller, maybe. Like, I don't really think it's like a straight up horror film. But yeah, so the film follows like a young dude, a young boy by the name of Craig. And it's played by Jaden Martell, who was Bill Denbrough in the It Chapter 1 and 2 2017 and whatever years those came out. It was from the new It films, who I really like. I like him as an actor. So yeah, this movie follows this young kid who sort of gets a job working for his billionaire neighbor, Mr. Harrigan, who is this sort of like reclusive, old school guy who essentially is, very business savvy, but sort of this like curmudgeon. And he, the Craig character, he begins to read stories to this old man. He gets paid, doesn't really make like a ton of money, but he begins to develop this friendship with this old man. And this film, I believe, I'm not sure if the film 100% is, but I know the book is set like like right when the iPhone just came out, the first one. So I can't remember if the film version is like that as well. But the kid, every holiday he gets a Christmas card or a birthday card or whatever from Mr. Harrigan, and it's always a scratch off ticket, like a lottery ticket, like a $1 one. And it's actually, I think it's like a devil something, and he scratches them off and usually loses, as you usually would with those $1 ones. But eventually he actually wins like $3,000 or something like that. And he got a iPhone for Christmas, or his birthday or whatever, at Christmas, I believe. And he wins that $3,000 in the same on the same day. So he wants to buy Mr. Harrigan a phone to say thank you. And he does. He buys him an iPhone. Mr. Harrigan doesn't want it at all. He's like, no, he thinks it has like radiation in it. He's very old school. And he also he has a lot of principles. Like, he lives by the motto, like, we don't own objects, end up owning us, that type of thing. He doesn't have a TV, but when Craig shows him that he can view the stock market in real time instead of waiting every day for a newspaper, it gets him kind of intrigued. And eventually he gets interested in this phone, and he does keep it. And he also sort of has this he starts to get a little obsessed with it, and it's definitely showing, like the technology aspect of like, we're too engulfed in technology and blah blah blah. Anyway, I don't know if I should. I mean, it's part of the synopsis, but essentially, Mr. Harrigan dies, but he finds a way to still sort of communicate with him after death, and that's basically the plot. It sounds more cool than it actually ends up being. It's kind of a basic story. Like, not much actually happens. I feel like the book, most of it was like this relationship building between the kid and Mr. Harrigan, and it was really good. And then once it got to the like third act of the book or whatever, it was just kind of basic, and it was like, okay, it's fine. But that's kind of how the movie is too. I feel like this movie did like a great job of adapting this. I feel like they really didn't change much from my memory, and it was pretty much the story, minus some of the character building stuff, which kind of was expected. You know, it's a film. You don't really have the words or the time to do like in-depth character building, relationship building. But this story actually reminds me a ton of Stephen King's newest novel, Fairy Tale, which I hear is also becoming a movie, which involves a young kid befriending an old curmudgeon man. That one's done a little bit better, Fairy Tale, but it's still I still like that aspect of both this and that. It's an interesting dynamic, and you really do start to like the characters' relationships and stuff. And I guess, you know, it's not. I think if they had amped up the horror for the film a little bit, probably would have been more enjoyable. But it's very similar to the novel. I did think it was like a decent movie, but nothing. It's definitely not my favorite Stephen King adaptation. So I just went ahead and gave it a 6 out of 10. It's on Netflix, worth watching, but it's really nothing super special. So with that said, see you guys tomorrow with another review, and peace out.